Hey everybody, my name is Russ. That is Lauren. Welcome to our Sunday vinyl video, and we have a special one today because this is a record that just came out a couple of days ago. We usually don't have that fast of a turnaround time, but this album was just released on Friday, and a really, really, really good record. But we'll go through the stuff we usually do, all the different things that we talk about. Rhino has been on this campaign for the past at least 2 or 3 years now, where they've been just putting out great reissues, great stuff that's been unearthed, like on vinyl for the first time or first time released. And this falls into that latter category. And this is one of those bands that I think is just criminally underrated. War. I'd say there's probably people out there who know them for 1 or 2 songs at the most, and they're just such a great band outside of that.
Yeah.
So I was all over this. I was like, do what now? 2 LP of War live that I've never heard. So there were all sorts of question marks I had though before we got it. And this is what we usually answer in each thing. So we'll start like packaging. I'm never quite sure where to go with this type of thing, like when it's something that's never been released before.
Sure.
Because there's no standard for what.
That did not occur to me.
Yeah. There's no standard for what this should look like nobody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's ups and downs to that too. If it's a well-loved release and you're going to re-release it, people expect it to look exactly the same. But what's interesting for me is I like that, for me, the packaging all the way across the board in many ways has that vintage live album look to it. Like if this had come out in 1974.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But one major difference that I don't think would have been, I find, at least me, a lot of live albums that you pick up from the 70s are like, this was recorded by this guy, in this city, the band and Angel Dust. You know what I mean? Like they're just like there's not a lot to say about in depth about the tour or and there is a load of information.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah. Which I love.
Yeah.
This came out 2 days ago, so we haven't read through everything, but that's the type of thing that takes me back to when I was a kid. You get a big album, you get a gatefold, and you're like, yes. But now there's so much more information in there than there ever was before.
Yeah, because there's like a whole conversation about like what was going on, like all the the shows, like all this, that, and the other, and like visually, it just looks like. This is why I was like, oh my gosh, it didn't occur to me that like this isn't a reissue. This is
it's a new.
We just found
the
this
tapes
stuff.
were. I don't have the exact details on this. I looked at like the press release and stuff, and it says it's a collection of recently discovered recordings from Tokyo, Osaka, and Kobe. So I don't know how long ago they were discovered, but recently discovered to me means that this was never commercially available. Prior to this.
Somebody was hiding them in their basement.
Right. Sound. That's probably the most important thing with any issue that you get of anything, whether it's a studio record or reissue or an original pressing or whatever. And the sound on this is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so clear and mixed so well.
Yeah, like full disclosure, like I wasn't super familiar with many of the songs that we heard.
Yeah.
But like I found it to be an extremely like enjoyable listening experience. Like it felt like a really well mixed live show. Like
felt like a really well mixed live show. And one thing, and people have ups and downs opinions on this. There's not a live album sound I don't like. I don't think. But a lot of people don't like that, what they call like a You Are There mix where like the crowd is really loud.
Oh.
And, and I don't mind that, but I also like when the crowd's like lower in the mix so you can hear more of the band. With War having the good fortune to be performing in Japan, the crowds are more subdued there and more appreciative anyways. So I feel like even if they were going to try and go for a You Are There mix, they wouldn't have been able to because the Japanese people don't really react that way to music.
Again, like I never really thought about that. Like, cause I mean, obviously I'm familiar with like Cheap Trick at Budokan, right? And I hear crowd there.
Yeah. Well, there's some mixing shenanigans going on there, but yes, I agree. But what I like about this though, is you can tell the crowd's there. You can tell they're very appreciative. But what you can tell is that whoever was on the mixing board that night knew what they were doing. And if you crank this up loud enough, which you should, by the way, all music should be cranked to what Garth from Wayne's World refers to as an acceptable volume. This would sound like War's playing in your living room. Like it's mixed that well, in my opinion. Price, that always goes in with value, but if you're going to pick this up anywhere, you should never pay more for it than $35. Probably this weekend, if you go pick it up like within the next week before new releases next Friday, you'll probably find it in places for like $30. But the MSRP on it's $35, so you should never pay more for that than that. When you get into value, this is one of those things where we're always like, well, I don't want to tell you how to spend your money, but like with the price that vinyl is going to these days, like we just recently had a friend of ours say, hey, I was in Target the other day and we picked up just one album. Is $50 normal? And we were like, yep, like it's getting there, you know. To me, and we did not discuss any of this ahead of time, I think $35 for this is a steal.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm very much like trained in my brain that because this is 2 LPs, right?
Yep.
So anything less than $20 per LP, for me, mentally is a good value. Does that make sense?
No, I totally get that.
So yes, like the math checks out for this being a good value in my mind.
No, and my thing too is for someone like me, like I know a little more War than you do. So as soon as like when they opened with World's Ghetto, I was just like, yes, you know, and I could tell that you didn't know it, but you were enjoying it, right? And for me, there's like that adds to the value too. Where like for me, I'm like, oh, I love all these songs, and I didn't know all of them, but I love all this stuff, and this is so good sounding, and it's great. And then for you, you can pick up on all sorts of new songs you'd never heard. Especially they don't mind stretching out on these songs on here either. There's a lot of long jams and whatnot, and again, for someone like you who doesn't, I mean, you know of War, you're fairly educated in them, but there was a lot of stuff on here. This is material you didn't know. To me, that adds to the value as well.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of times people will be like, oh, I would have bought that live album, but they didn't do the ones I know on it, or it's not filled with all. And it's like, no, you should expand out.
For sure.
That's how I got into Pink Floyd, was through a live album, and I kept going back and buying the studio records for the stuff they were doing on there that I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. It's like when I go to see any band live, like I don't go in needing to know every single thing I'm going to hear, right? Like part of it is hearing something that I haven't, or like learning a new thing. And the same kind of goes for a live album. I didn't need to know everything on this to start with, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah, no, same. Yeah, I feel the same way. So that's our thoughts on the War Live in Japan 1974 issue from Rhino. Like I said, overall, we're never like, here, I'm going to tell you how to spend your money. But if you're out in a record store this weekend, I would easily, if we didn't already have it, I would tell you to pick it up. If you would, please drop a like on the video, because that does help the channel grow. If you're in any sort of music forums or Facebook pages or something, if you wouldn't mind sharing the video around, that helps us out a great deal. We have vinyl videos every Sunday, but we have other videos on the channel every week. So if you hit the notification bell, you will get notified every single time we have a new video. So you'll have 3 of them every week. That is Lauren. My name is Russ. As we always say, thank you so much for watching.